This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this.
Thursday, the 7th of July. Very good morning to you all. My name is Raj Amir, and a particular warm welcome to all of my unemployed friends, all of my fellow bums and lazy good-for-nothings, and let me show you. So there's a lovely account called Terry Nappy. I won't speculate as to who it is. I think we all know who it is. None of your followers are in work, and neither are you. Stop begging for money and get a job. I've done all right for someone who's not got a job, haven't I? I've done all right for someone who's not got a job. Valencia. I never made it to Valencia, Gail. I nearly got there once. I got in a car, I was heading there with some friends of mine, and I think the party was somewhere else, so we never made it as far as Valencia. We got distracted and diverted. Yeah, so Terry Nappy. Terry Nappy. Those of you who have been following what's been taken place. Sorry, I just need to hide something on my one of the lovely young people who I been helping has just messaged me on Facebook, so I just needed to delete that message or hide that message. I just need to bring something up and show you something. So let's start with this. Morning, Tony. Hope you had a good birthday, mate. Morning, Lee. Morning, Denise. Let's get on with this. Let's get on with this transmission. So this is the Westwood and Calder's Community Watch page, apparently. 2,600 members, public group. And as its banner, it has a waving flag of it's a Palestinian flag at a mosque, right? And it's run by a bunch of anonymous trolls, I'd say. Just more anonymous trolls who have taken to this page, including this David Jones and a few others. David Jones, nice, Bangladeshi name, of course. And they post with these things that say group participants, so they don't even post using their fake names. It's group participant. And this page has been set up specifically to attack the rest of Oldham. Okay, and I'll explain why and why I find pages like this uncomfortable. So what they are establishing is a counter narrative that everyone white in this town is a racist and a far-right activist. And the Westwood and Calder's Community Watch needs to present itself or defend itself as a Muslim enclave. Why else would Westwood and Calder's Community Watch have a banner, a waving flag of a Palestinian activist with a mosque at its backdrop? Why else would it have that? Imagine if there was something called Limeside Community Watch with a Ku Klux Klan figure on the backdrop, or some burning crosses behind them. There would be outrage across the town. But here we are, Westwood and Community Watch, and it's basically full of the cartel foot soldiers. And the cartel foot soldiers are now busy trying to create an alternative narrative. And have tagged me in a few times, and I've handled myself accordingly. But it's interesting to watch. It's interesting to watch because they've only mobilized it the way they have very recently because of what has been going on with ABDUL JABBAR, Councillor ABDUL JABBAR. So let me just show you one of the posts. And some of you are commenting on it. You can see some of you are liking and commenting. And I think I've said to you, just be wary. Just be wary. You know, Sheila's on it, Kay's on it. You can see. Just be wary. About time somebody spoke up about this Raj Emir. He's done nothing but target Jabbar in the community. Well, I'm really, really sorry. I think ABDUL JABBAR, the people of the town, have every right to ask questions about his relationship and his knowledge of Shabir Daddy Ahmed, the ringleader of the Rochdale grooming gang. And yeah, I think you're right, Oldham. Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. So apparently I'm a far right activist, according to these guys. And so on. And what they're trying to do is close down the debate in the community. Apparently all this unity nonsense bollocks close down the anger and the rage that has spilt out into the streets of what has took place in Coldest. So let's go and focus on that. So last night, the police were out in force. God knows how much it cost, and God knows how much money they would have saved if they'd just done the job properly in the first place. If Chief Superintendent Chris Bowen's police officers had just done their job properly in the first place, they wouldn't have needed all those horseback police officers and the tactical aid units all parked in strategic locations waiting to jump on some 14-year-old lad picking up his late night kebab. So so God knows how much all of that cost. But today there are some meetings taking place. The first of the meetings taking place today is in the Civic Centre. That Saeed, whatever he's called, the deputy chief executive who's come out of some Kipling movie, has arranged a community meeting with representatives of the community elders, all of that bollocks that my generation, and I'm 50 this year, had enough of. So God knows what 2 generations further think of any of that nonsense. Of somehow I can't speak for myself, but I will, be told what to do by some self-appointed community leader who decides what's best for all of us. You wouldn't have this in the white community. Don't think for 1 minute we'd, people in the Asian community stand for it. And what took place with is this, what's his name? Saeed something or another, isn't it? The deputy chief executive. It's called a meeting of the elders. He's called a meeting of the elders. I don't know if the peace pipe is going to go around or whether they'll sit round a fire pit at the Civic Centre and create some special, put some blankets out, maybe, some dates to nibble on and sit on the floor. I'm not sure. But it's called a meeting of the elders, representatives of the community. No idea who the representatives of the community are, but it's called a meeting. And off he's gone. Off he's gone to have this meeting. This has got nothing to do with the council. And this is where the blurred lines in this town continue to operate and why the angst in the community increases, across all community increases. This should have nothing to do with the council. This is a police matter. Why is the police, you can imagine it, can't you, Julie, the peace pipe going around. Why are the police not just doing their frigging job? Why? Why? Maybe I used Terry's nappy. Oldham. So why are they not doing their job? Well, we know why, don't we? And we've seen the statements come out. So I'm going to do what I do on my good notes thing and my Apple Pen. Generation 1, by the way. I can't afford the Generation 2. Apple Pen Generation 1. And let me show you. Here we go. This is ABDUL JABBAR's Facebook post yesterday. So he's crawled out from under the table and he's been forced to release a Facebook post and a statement on council letterheaded paper. Let's go through the Facebook post first. ABDUL JABBAR admits he has been liaising with Greater Manchester Police and Oldham Council since he was made aware of the horrific incident that happened on the 21st of June. ABDUL JABBAR does not clarify when he was made aware. Was he made aware on the 21st of June, 22nd of June, 23rd of June? So when was he made aware? He does not want to share with us. This is clever. This is politics. This is what politicians do. You've got to find it in between the words, in between the sentences. He has written today to the Chief Superintendent of Oldham Police demanding a formal explanation as to why it took so long to arrest the suspects. That's not where people are at. It wasn't why it took so long to arrest the suspects. The explanation people are looking for is, why did the police not launch an investigation? Why did they not issue a press statement? Why did they not call out for witnesses? There's a whole host of questions that the communities across Oldham have. And last on that is why it took so long to arrest the suspects. It's the botched operation. It's the botched investigation. He then jumps onto, he urges, this is ABDUL JABBAR, everyone to remain calm and let the police do their work to catch the perpetrators. And then his language goes a bit awry because, you know, he's clearly nervous. I will share, I suppose, that with is unnecessary. It's as unnecessary as a salad with a samosa. I will share the response from the police in due course, I think is what he meant, rather than put the word with in there. So I have been liaising with Greater Manchester Police and Oldham Council since I was made aware of the horrific incident that happened on the 21st of June. I have written today, actually it should have been today written, but I have written today to the Chief Superintendent of Oldham demanding a formal explanation as to why it took so long to arrest the suspects. There is a live police investigation on this case, therefore I would urge everyone to remain calm and let the police do their work to catch the perpetrators. I will share the response from the police in due course. Absolute doublespeak, full of doublespeak, clever, but full of doublespeak. Maybe I'll do that and it'll come up and you can see it all. Yeah, perfect. Full of doublespeak. I have been liaising with Greater Manchester Police and Oldham Council since I was made aware. Well, ABDUL JABBAR, the question people have is, when were you made aware? And were you aware before that meeting last Sunday? And what were you aware of? Who made you aware? These are the questions, Deputy Leader of Oldham Council, along with your relationship with Daddy, that people want answering. And the right to ask these questions. So, Abdul, and the Islamuddin, by the way, here is a lad I went to school with. Islamuddin is responsible for what we make reference to as Cartel TV. So it's the Cartel TV station. And this is his letter. So let's go through his letter. Well, enlarge it so you can see it. I might just that better. That's better, isn't it? Dear Chief Superintendent Bowen, yes, indeed, indeed. Where is the outrage at the lack of an investigation with a car bombing in the town? Why have the St. Mary's councillors not written to the Chief Superintendent Bowen wanting an update? Ali Salamat, is it Akil Salamat? Naila, Aftab, all St. Mary's councillors. Why have you not written to Chief Superintendent Bowen? Outraged, alarmed at the lack of information and lack of progress on the bombing of the leader of Arooj Shah's car. So this letter-headed paper is the Oldham Council letter-headed paper that Sean Fielding, when he was leader of the council, used to write to many of your employers wanting to get you sacked, calling you far-right racist and wanting to get you sacked. So that's who this letter-headed paper looks like. I'm writing to you as Deputy Leader of Oldham Council, so he's writing in his official capacity, as well as Member for Calder's. Actually, what he meant to say was elected Member for Calder's, but that's by the by. Where, as you are well aware, there has been significant disorder in recent days. As an Oldham resident and as a councillor, I am deeply concerned about the rising tensions we have seen in our community. Why have we seen those rising tensions? ABDUL Jabbar doesn't say. While I am glad to have been, it's English, it should be, whilst I am glad to have seen that 3 arrests have taken place in recent days, following the horrific attack near Featherstall Road on the 21st of June, I am also aware that many people in the community are asking why it took at least 2 weeks for these suspects to be questioned. Why it took almost 2 weeks. This letter went out after Chief Superintendent Bowen's statement, where he blamed the delays on the victim's inability to speak English. Friends of mine from the hospital have contacted me, doctors and nurses, clarifying the exact process and procedure. And translators can be called upon immediately on emergencies such as this. So it's a complete lie. It's a complete lie that the ability to speak English has got anything to do with it. I'll bring something up for you. I'll show you. This is the webpage NHS Northern Care Alliance Interpretation and Translation Service. The Interpretation and Translation Service provides verbal and written language interpretation services for over 94 languages spoken within the geographical area of the Trust. That service is available. It's an emergency service as well available, and there is no way whatsoever a translator would not have been possible for Bangla. Remember, this lad speaks Bangla, not Swahili, Bangla. So, absolute nonsense by the Chief Superintendent, but Jabbar would have known. Jabbar would have known that what reason was presented, and if he was a genuine councillor interested in really what's taking place, he would have challenged Chief Superintendent's position of a translator. He would have challenged it. Jabbar wants some reassurance, not reassurance, but some reassurance. Why there was such a gap between the attack and the first suspects being arrested. so that he can use the information to reassure people in Westwood and the wider community. I know that where there is a gap in information, rumours tend to surface, so I'd appreciate any information from you to help quash the misinformation we know is circulating. So what misinformation is circulating, Jabbar? Why don't you make reference to it? Why don't you make reference to the misinformation that is circulating? The misinformation that is apparently circulating is that this investigation was sat on, lost, buried, use whatever word you want, because the perpetrators, one of the key perpetrators, is the family, direct, immediate, family link to the councillor. Which is why the Westwood East has been repeatedly attacked. Not that I'm in any way, supportive of any violent actions, by the way. So we're completely clear and repeatedly clear. I say this every time because we know Greater Manchester Police watch these transmissions and will try and find anything to try and twist and come and arrest me. No. We don't support violence. We support change at the ballot box and through legal means. I also hope that the victim in this attack is now safe and recovering from injuries while receiving the appropriate support he needs. What is that supposed to mean? I also hope. Have you not spoken to the victim, Jabbar? Very simple question, Abdul Jabbar, Deputy Leader of the Council. Have you not spoken to the victim? I will be joining colleagues at the council, community leaders. See, community leaders. Who are your community leaders? Your community leaders in a community are the politicians that you elect, or those who hold significant positions in community organisations, like the Imam at the mosque that they recently sacked for daring to condemn the violence. Yeah, they sacked the Imam at the mosque. Apparently he's on a sick leave, but the Imam at the mosque, at Oldham Central Mosque, spoke out against the violence and what's taking place. And Abdul Jabbar's brother Abdul Karim took him away and sacked him, which he can't do, by the way, because there's meant to be a committee, but he can do because really the committee is just lip service and he's in charge. The cartels control the mosque. While we all want those responsible for this terrible attack to be brought to justice, what about those responsible for hiding this terrible attack, Abdul Jabbar, helping hide it? It's the same as the grooming gangs. We don't just want the groomers and the child rapists brought to justice. We want those who have failed held accountable. It is imperative that people don't take the law into their own hands and allow your officers space to do their work. That's a contradiction there, isn't it, Abdul Jabbar? Because you're asking for reassurance as to why there was nearly a 2-week gap before the police started to do their work. And now you're saying, the police need to be supported. And then he gets onto this nonsense. As you will undoubtedly be aware, we will be celebrating Eid this weekend, a time where families and friends will come together to celebrate. I hope that these celebrations can pass safely and peacefully, and will work with you and your officers in any way I can to help ensure this. With best wishes, Councillor Abdul Jabbar, MBE. So Councillor Abdul Jabbar has been forced out to issue a statement. And he shared that statement on his Facebook page, and it's been shared across other Facebook pages and social media pages. And it's not worked because it doesn't answer a fundamental question. Councillor Abdul Jabbar, when were you first made aware of what was taking place? When were you first made aware of this horrific incident? I'm using your quote words here, that's why I'm looking in this direction. When were you first made aware of the horrific incident that happened on the 21st of June? He won't answer it. He won't answer it. When were you first made aware? You've admitted you have been liaising with. Clever. Clever. Reason why he's been a politician for 25 years. I have been liaising with Greater Manchester Police and Oldham Council since I was made aware. So he admits he's been in contact with the police. Here's ABDUL JABBAR admitting he's been in contact with the police, but admits to say when he's been in contact with the police from. Was it hours after the lad was left for dead? That led to the police effectively closing their investigation down? Answer the question, Abdul. Answer the question. You won't answer the question. You won't answer the question because on issues like this, as I've demonstrated to you with the Oldham and Westwood and Calder Facebook watch group or whatever it's called, they don't care. It becomes tribal. These guys could be rapists and they'll still hide and protect them. That's the power of the cartels. They'll hide and protect rapists. Why do you think the chairman of Oldham Central Mosque was a convicted sex offender and ABDUL JABBAR and his lot, you know, the OBA lot, continued to let him hold that position? Do you not think they did not know? Of course they knew. Even after it became public news and they'd removed him, they were forced to remove the chairman from his position, ABDUL JABBAR launched his re-election campaign with a convicted sex offender sat next to him. Jim McMahon's pictured with the convicted sex offender, both of them wearing the red Labour Party rosettes. This is a parallel legal system, a parallel, you know, society in Westwood and Coldust. And if it's left, if they are left to allow to continue as they are, that community will only get worse. Which is why the actions, and the names come to me, the Deputy Chief Executive, Saeed Osman, his actions of holding a meeting with community leaders is atrocious. There should be a public meeting where the police and the councillors meet directly concerned members of the community. There should be no community gatekeepers, because that's what we really mean, not leaders, gatekeepers, who, by the way, control block votes. There should be none of that. There should be none of that. Let me pause for a second and I'll bring up the latest Oldham Times story on this. And there's some very, very worrying points in that as well. Yes, son. I have no idea. No, I have no idea how much the translation service costs us. I don't particularly care, if I'm honest with you. There are people in this country who don't speak English. I believe we should, you know, encourage the learning of the language. But the point here isn't about how much the bloody translation service costs. The point here is that it was available to be used to support a young man who'd been left for dead on the streets of this town. That's the point. And this isn't Belgium, is it, Sue? What are we saying? There shouldn't be translation services? Is that what some of you are saying? If that's the conversation you want to have it in a different place, at a different time. That's not what I'm here to discuss. There was a translation service available, and that translation service could have been used immediately if required. See, that's the issue with some of you. You just need to stay focused on what's important here. Right? And I completely agree that if I had my way, I would slash the translation service budget and reinvest that money in English language lessons. That's what I would do. And make those English language lessons compulsory. That's also something I would do. Because to integrate in a town, in a society, and I think that's what you're trying to get at. That's what some of you are trying to get at. You should speak the language. And I agree with you. I agree with you. On that, I agree with you. But successive governments have cut all of that funding. Why have they cut that funding? It's to make a dependent society, such as these, and to create the angst that some of you are now articulating. This is not a side effect. This is actually the intention of cutting down the old ESOL lessons. If you are finding value in this, sorry, I've not done this at all today yet. If you're finding value in these morning transmissions, I enjoy these morning transmissions. If you're finding value in this, we spend an hour or so, I think is how it's going to be, these morning transmissions. If you're finding value in these morning transmissions, there's 100 of you watching. Please like, please share. There's no reason why there's 30 ticks on here. And buy me. If you weren't one of those who this week haven't bought me a coffee, then please do buy me a coffee. I'll continue to ask for support because it's only through support that I can afford to do what I do. It's a service. It's a well-received service, particularly amongst my samosa nibbling friends in the Labour Party. So let's move on to the Oldham Times. Yeah, that's it. Simple as that. They want division. Division suits their agenda. So just be smarter. Smarter. And you're all capable of being smarter. Every one of you are capable of being smarter. ABDUL JABBAR has questions he has not answered. And he's trying to be clever. Very simple, Abdul. When did you first know? Who told you and what did you do? He really should be suspended, by the way, by the Labour Party. Amanda Chadderton really should suspend him for this, for his links with Shabir Daddy Ahmed, that they won't get away with. Because ABDUL JABBAR, in the same way Arooj Shah cost the Labour Party seats in Royton last year, and Sean Fielding cost the Labour Party seats, Royton and St James's even last year. What's going to happen this year, Amanda Chadderton, is that the actions of ABDUL JABBAR will not just cost the Labour Party in Coldest, where the anti-cartel alliance is growing in numbers. This will cost you, Bashforth, all of you who are at risk. It'll cost you all your seats because you're refusing to ask a question regarding what your Asian councillors, led by ABDUL JABBAR, the deputy leader, knew about Shabir Daddy Ahmed. Imagine the posters. Amanda Chadderton, just imagine the posters we can have. Imagine the leaflets. Imagine the banners, because we're going to do all of that. I might hang out. I might put them on barrels and set them up outside Steve Bashforth's house. Just imagine what we're going to do. You can see what I spend my time looking at. Different bits for cameras, yeah. That's useful, isn't it? At least you know what my internet search history is. Tripods and monopods and little gadgets to put cameras on there. Gang attack, victim says is overcome by love from Oldham. Digital reporter Olivia Bridge. They have digital reporters because none of them live in Oldham. None of them really know Oldham. Right. The victim of a brutal gang assault, which has sparked anger in Oldham, has spoken out for the first time and urged against vigilante attacks. Actually, he's not spoken out. He's spoken out through someone else, but we'll get to that. The lawyer representing the teenager has shared a message from him saying he is touched by the generosity of Oldhamers, but let police do their jobs. There's more to this. In an update on the 19-year-old's health, solicitor Munira Khatun Hussain said he was clearly traumatised and nervous as a result of the attack. Clearly traumatised and nervous. There was a medical examination of him today, which highlighted issues with his eyesight, hearing and mental health. It's probably because he was nearly kicked to death. First bit you need to worry about. Hidden in the small print. She said he had been relocated to a secure location to facilitate his recovery and he's been taken care of by a community leader. Why has this young man been relocated to a secure location? Why has he been put in witness protection? That's essentially what she is saying. This is his lawyer. It's not me making this up. He has been relocated to a secure location. This young man, who was nearly battered to death, is now in some form of community witness protection, being taken care of by a community leader. I would imagine the community leader has a baseball bat and a machete next to him. Why has this young man been relocated? Where was he relocated from? From his house? I think so, from his own home. So he's been relocated to a secure location. He's in some form of community witness protection scheme. Now, why would that be? Why would that be? Yesterday, I shared with you worrying news of how the cartels were trying to put pressure on him to drop charges. They were hanging around near his house. Why would a young man be relocated? And just what are the police doing? Why are the police not taking care of him? Oh yeah. Is that the same police that somehow failed to launch an attempted murder investigation because the lad didn't speak English? Yeah. Cover up on epic scale. Taking place right in front of you. In a message to his lawyer today, the victim said, "I am comfortable, I feel a lot better." Apparently, he's extremely grateful for the outpouring of love and support from that people have shown him. He's been reassured that this is how this community is, the whole community of Oldham, and that this was an isolated incident. Who's reassured him? Miss Hussain is now becoming something other than his lawyer. She's becoming a spokesperson for Greater Manchester Police, Oldham Council and possibly the cartels. Who's reassured him that this was an isolated incident? What was the incident that you're claiming was isolated? And this lad, it sounds like a really decent lad, by the way. He's refusing crowdfunders, fundraising pages. He's refusing any financial help. He just wants justice. And here's some more nonsense. Apparently, according to Ms. Hussain, that's what the community is focusing on. It's not a case of criticising the police, but how can we improve? Do you see straight away they're trying to manage within the police force, within councillors and within schools? What's this got to do with schools? What's this got to do with schools? The lad's 19. people that beat him up were grown men. The people that beat him up were grown men. The community isn't focusing on criticising the police, not the case of... The community is focusing on criticising the police. And I'll show you why. I'll show you why. Here's ABDUL Jabbar's letter to the policeman, wanting to know why the police failed to investigate. Even Jabbar's trying to cover his own back. So where does this nonsense statement come from? This is what happens when you manipulate victims. This is what happens when victims are manipulated. The victim also had another message. What's the poor lad's name? He doesn't want any more trouble. He's personally requesting that people refrain from taking the law into their own hands because that is just increasing his anxiety and his worries. Who's written this for him? He doesn't want any innocent people targeted in any way because each family home has children or mums and dads in the property, and his specific request to everybody is to please let the police do their job. Mate, the police wouldn't be doing any job if 100 or 200 young men had not got angry and done what they've done. The police would not have arrested a single person if those people hadn't been dragged out of those houses. Now, I'm not supporting that. I'm not supporting their actions at all. What I am doing is understanding why finally there is an investigation. This is just nonsense. And I'm really, really sorry. I'm really, really sorry to Munira Khatun Hussain. I was sat next to her the other day. But you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be playing politics or trying to play politics. It's not good. It's not good at all. And no, it wasn't an isolated incident, was it, mate? You saw the video footage I released just before the elections. Coldust is increasingly becoming lawless. Open drug dealing, prostitution, gangs, violence all over the place. The community is scared. The community is angry. It was not an isolated incident. These are not isolated incidents. It's time we face the reality of what is taking place in these communities. It's time we stopped hiding and covering up and disguising what the cartels have done. And ABDUL Jabbar, the deputy leader of Oldham Council, instead of this deflecting nonsense, needs to confirm with the people of the town what he knew, when he knew it, who he knew it from, and what he did as a consequence. Because until he does that, this rumour, call it a rumour if you want, will not go away. And that rumour is that he intervened in protecting these attackers and helped close down what should have been an attempted murder investigation. Because that's where the anger is. Just say you didn't do it, Abdul. Say none of this is true. Why are you going around the houses? Why don't you just come out and say, I didn't know about this until you all knew about this on the Saturday night when the video came out. I was horrified and I attended the meeting on Sunday. I never spoke to the police beforehand. And I never tried to nudge the investigation in any way. Just issue a statement. How hard can it be? Instead of this nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And to those lovely people who are busy creating fake accounts, telling me where I belong and where I don't belong, and attacking my poor friend Moyib, whose only crime in this was asking ABDUL JABBAR what his relationship with Shabir Ahmed was, and resulted in his house, in an attempt to burn his house down. No. Your cartel control of Westwood and Coldest is coming to an end. And everyone can see it's coming to an end. And no matter what you do, you will not protect it any longer. You can sack all the imams you want in the mosques. You can shut them down for daring to speak out against vicious attacks against young people. That's what happened. An imam who spoke out against violence towards young people was sacked from the mosque. Arbitrarily. By Abdul Jabbar's brother, Abdul Karim, the secretary of a mosque. If you find value in these transmissions, please, these daily things, please do buy me a coffee. Someone's bought me a coffee today, so I'm £2 up. I am definitely £2 up. So please, if you find value in these transmissions, buy me a coffee. If you've got any questions, ask me some questions before I head off and go and do my daily stuff. So, these are more relaxed sort of interactions. Ask me any questions you want. Bring them up. There's over 50 of you currently watching. I've only got 36 likes. 52 of you watching live with me, and 113 of you are watching at various stages of this transmission. So, there's a like button. Just press it. It'll share the content. Maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I've got a bit of... I had my coffee early, so it's not coffee now. It's my 10:30 Vimto break till about 11:30. So I've got 5 more minutes. If you've got any questions, fire away. It's a good job, Teresa. Well in demand. Translation services. Good to see you. Failsworth 1. No idea who you are, but it is a full council meeting on Wednesday, and let's fill the gallery. Let's fill the gallery. It is my intention to go to the full council meeting on Wednesday, yes. I have to... I normally have my daughter on Wednesday, so I've got to juggle that, but I've spoke to her, and I'm sure her mum or her grandparents will be fine. Or, in a different world, I'll be honest with you, I'd have took my daughter with me to the council meeting. Just no different to how we once took our children with us to political events, because that's how we educate them, that's how we get them to care. But I can't take her there because the chances are it's not safe. I don't think we're safe. I don't even know if people like it. I don't know the names. It's not like Facebook, so there's nothing stopping people liking it on YouTube. There's nothing stopping people like it on YouTube. Ali Akbar's just messaged me. He wants to know how much is he worth. How much is he worth? Yes, there is a price on on revealing Ali Akbar's identity. The cartels have placed a price on his head. If you can unearth who Ali Akbar is, and he's clearly from within the, within the Coldest community. They want to expose him. Remember, Jim McMahon, the shadow minister, criticised Ali Akbar for his cartoons. Council meeting start at 6, mate. I find it staggering, and I think many people in the community are finding it staggering that the imam of the mosque was arbitrarily sacked on the spot because he spoke out against gang violence. You know, I'm not a fan of religion. You know, I am a Muslim, but I'm not a fan of organised religion. I'm not a fan of these places, and I have many issues with them. But come on. Fair play to the lad. He stood up and criticised the gang violence in the community. And believed that the congregation had a responsibility to better educate the young people and make a difference and make the area a better place for everyone. How can you get sacked for that? Of course she knows. Of course Amanda Chadderton knows. One of the funniest moments of that council meeting was when people were shouting out, including me, just ask him. He's in front of you. Ask him. And it was, I was 2 years old when Shabir Ahmed, let's get this right. I was 2, innit? Yeah. What should have happened, Tony, is the MP by now should have intervened and called for the police watchdog to be brought in as to why Greater Manchester Police had failed to follow their own due processes in investigating an attempted murder. That's what should have happened by now. Yes, it is what the Imam is supposed to do. Imam, yeah. It took me a few seconds to work out what you're saying. So it is exactly what he's meant to do. Provide that spiritual guidance and speak out. And, you know, it's a position of privilege because actually what it means is he has the respect to speak out on issues that others feel uncomfortable about because of his standing. He can do it and he should do it. Yes, Tony. Somebody please send Brother Jamal an email and ask him why he is not issuing a statement on the attempted murder of a young man in his own constituency and the police failings. Morning, Yvonne. Yvonne's just catching up. If you find value, please consider buying me a coffee or two, or keep me going. If not, it's fine. I will see you all. I think I'll see you next on Sunday now, I think. So Sunday night for the transmission where we'll continue dismantling the inquiry report. Oh, I've got something else on that. His name is Kevin Lee. He's Andy Burnham's main man. I think he earns about 150 grand a year, 200 grand a year himself, 250 grand a year. I don't know. Someone needs to put us. He's defending the report. He's gone onto Twitter defending the assurance report. Apparently it was conducted by experts. And there's no need for a public inquiry. Why would anyone say there's no need for a public inquiry? Why? Why would anyone want to deny the children of our town justice? Why?
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.